Another of the very interesting champions that came with this Alice's adventure in this Alice's campaign is the CHESIRE CAT. I'm not gonna make videos of all the champions that came with this patch because I think there's ones that are more interesting than others, but in this case we've recently had an event. I think it was like a times 15 or a times 10 on the CHESIRE CAT, and probably a lot of you have pulled him. Otherwise, maybe you just see this video in the future and you'd pull him out of the event, or you just appeared in a shard, and in that case, congratulations. In the video today, we're in the test server and we're gonna see what he's capable to do. Let's have a look at it. Hi, Senda here, and welcome to another Race of the Legends video. Like I said, we're in the test server and we're about to test, or to playtest a bit, one of the newest champions. In this case, at the moment I'm filming this video, which is the CHESIRE CAT. It's a new demon spawn. It's a bit weird of a faction because, I mean, I don't think he's really related to any demon. I probably would have put him on skinwalkers, even though he's an animal, so at the end of the day, I think it's a cat at the end of the day. But here it is. I think, once again, the design team made an amazing job, and this is the CHESIRE CAT, one of the iconic images of Alice in Wonderland. And also I think not only visually, but I think they've done a great job in terms of skills, in terms of how his character pairs with the skills. Because if you remember, in the Alice in Wonderland, this cat kind of appeared from the shadows. You could only see that sneaky face, this kind of dark smile, and then it would disappear again. So his kit, at least his skills, go a lot on that line. He uses a lot the veil and perfect veil, and hits from the shadows, and if he hits from the shadows, he hits a lot harder. That's a bit the idea, and I think, like I said, it's a great implementation. In terms of stats, you can see his very standard nuker, 15,000 HP, 1,500 attack, around 1,000 damage, and around 100 speed. It's very, very standard kind of stats for a champion like him. He doesn't apply any debuffs, so accuracy is not important on him, resistance is not important on him, defense is not really important on him, because what you want is him to be fast and hit hard. And for that, you need attack, crit rate, crit damage, and then also as much speed as you can. In terms of skills, it's quite simple of a kit, but has its quirks, and there's some interesting things. The A1 attacks one enemy. If this champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil, attacks all enemies instead, which is pretty good. Also, the multiplier of this skill is not bad, and he puts himself a Perfect Veil for one turn. So if he's going without any other champion, or if he counterattacks and he uses this skill, it can counterattack with AoE, or it can counterattack with a single hit. So it's not bad. Also, it scales for attack and speed, which is a bit weird. There's not that many champions that do that. I know one is Rasselvark from the Skinwalkers. He also scales out of attack and speed. I guess they wanted to kind of do a how you say it, like a wink, some sort of connection between the White Rabbit and the CHESIRE CAT. Another champion that also scales out of attack and speed is Ghostborn for some reason. Ghostborn is a weird champion. I think he needs a rebalance. He's very old, doesn't fit in any team. It requires accuracy for one skills and not for others. I don't know. I think they should revisit him. But this is not a video about Ghostborn. It's a video about the CHESIRE CAT, and this is what he does. Okay, attack and speed. On the A2, attacks an enemy 3 times. Each hit will decrease the speed by 1%, and it stacks up to a 10%. This effect does not work against bosses, which means like for certain case it's okay, but we're not going to see much value out of him, because in arena the enemies are not going to last that many rounds for us to stack up a 10% speed, and also against bosses doesn't make much sense, and the same on the other way around. Each hit will increase this champion's speed by 1%, and again we are not going to be able to see that very much in action, because each hit, okay, that means one attack, like one hit of this skill, it already increases the speed by 3%, and the next one 6%, and the next one 9%, and then only one there. And a 10% is not that much. And then the second part of the skill, it just says if this skill kills an enemy, places a perfect veil on this champion, if the ally with the lowest turn meter for 2 turns. So it kind of puts 2 perfect veils. In this case is for 2 turns. The one in the A1 is only for 1 turn. On the A3 is kind of the main skill, or the skill that he's gonna use first. Attacks all enemies. Before attacking, places a perfect veil and an increased attack, which means like he buffs himself in a sense, and if he kills someone, grants an extra turn. This Perfect Veil here combines really well, not only with this one and also with this one, with his passive, because that's the one that makes the whole sense. If this champion's under Veil or Perfect Veil, like we said, he is able to place them, to place both of them, or to place Perfect Veil here and Perfect Veil here. He's able to do that by himself. The turn meter fill effects are 30% more effective. That doesn't mean that it adds up. For example, if Arbiter fills 20% our turn meter, this doesn't mean like 30% more effective, which means it's going to be 30 plus 20 equals 50% of turn meter extra. That's not how it works. It's a 30% of the 20%. So it's like a little bump, a little help, but it's not going to be game changing. And also, if this champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil, this champion's attack will ignore 15% of the target's defense and inflict a 15% more damage. This is what's gonna make it hit pretty hard, especially if he's under Veil. In that sense, it's very similar to, I don't know, Candraphone or other champions that also have this kind of synergy of hitting harder if they're under Veil. I think Roxanne also has the same kind of idea. And as an active effect, and that's also very similar to another nukers that we have in game now, whenever this champion is about to receive a hit that would drop the HP below 20%, which means like probably a hit that will kill him, blocks the incoming damage and places a block damage and a Perfect Veil on this champion for 1 turn. That means that will allow him to recirculate through the skills. Will hit with the A3, this hit with the A3 will be hitting harder because he already has the passive from the Perfect Veil from the passive. Also, if he kills an enemy, he will be able to AoE on the A1. So there's certain synergies here, and this, like I said, is similar to other things. For example, like other champions like Leorios, like Skullcrown, like Sigfrun, able to not only survive that hit, but also hit back, allowing him at least 1 turn of attack to maybe turn around the fight. In this case, if another champion places a block passives on him, this completely goes out and he's killable like any other nuker. At the end, or finally, we have an increased ally speed like an aura, 19%, it's not too much, but it's speed in all battles, which is always welcome. In terms of gear, I'll show you how I have him. I just put on him the same gear I had on my Trunda, which is 100% pure damage, and here it is. It's Savage. In this case, what we look for from this set is ignoring more defense, which means hitting harder. Crit damage, just because extra crit damage is always more damage. And 1 piece of Merciless. We could go for probably 9-piece Merciless, would also be a good option. Lethal is also another good option, as I said, for another nuker. Which, what it is? Lethal is also another good option. Then you go into the 9-piece one. For example, like I said, Merciless is pretty good because everything that it gives him is good. Chance to decrease random skill cooldown by 1 turn while dealing damage. Plus even more attack, more increased defense, more critical damage, more speed. So everything is also very positive. And then we also have there was another one, Slayer. I think is also pretty good for him. More critical rate, more critical damage, fills this turn meter by 5% per the first hit on each enemy from AoE attacks, and he has 1 on the A3 and possibly 1 on the A1, more critical rate, more ignore defense. So like we said, it has a lot of options depending on what kind of sets you want, but what you want is to ignore defense. And also, the rest of the kit or the rest of the stats that we're looking for is, like I said, attack, speed, 100% crit rate, a lot of crit damage, accuracy doesn't matter, resistance doesn't matter, speed, like I said, is important, and HP and defense at the end of the day is this kind of prototype of glass cannon. He's there to not hold too much hits, but also to hit really, really hard. In terms of set, like you can see, crit damage with crit rate, attack with attack with even more attack, more crit damage. This ring is pretty good. Attack main stat and quad roll on attack percentage. I don't have many like this, but I have one for this faction. And in terms of it's fully booked. In terms of masteries, pretty basic nuker that doesn't need any kind of accuracy. And then here we go with 50% chance of ignoring even 25% more defense on top of that, plus the set, plus the passive. So that's what kind of is going to bring the damage. In terms of, like I said, fully booked. In terms of blessings, it will depend how many red stars, how ascended he is. I would say if he's like 5 or 6 stars ascended, the no-brainer is Crushing Ren. This one is very OP, it's really broken, it works amazingly with any kind of nuker, just because it will ignore a lot of defense. Otherwise, we can go for Soul Rip, also pretty decent. If we hit AoE and some enemy is kind of lingering with little HP, maybe we can kill it with that. Or also Cruelty, also another good option, because slowly we're going to start decreasing the defense per hit. So like I said, it depends on how many red stars you have. Any of these three are good options. And in terms of relics, there's several relics that you could use depending on which ones you have. Probably the easiest and most accessible is the Malefic Talon. Wearer has 20% chance to deal 10% more damage when attacking. And also, we get as a first stat here, critical damage. So both is a win-win. And of course, in terms of the legendary one, I don't have that many, I don't know them that much because they're something quite new, but pretty much anything that will make him increase damage. For example, this one, Volcardiac Heart, could maybe work if this Magma Shield is a thing. Then I don't know. This depends a bit. Depends a bit what you have. But like I said, this is one is pretty easy to get, and the effects are pretty positive. But I'm gonna be testing him as it is. No red. Not ascended. No relic. Nothing. So you see at least the raw potential of this champion in case you don't have any other thing. Same with the basic setup. There's no point me putting here Badel. There's no point of me here putting Gorptuk just because it's not a realistic scenario. We're never gonna use these 5 champions just to showcase the damage of one. So it's much more normal to showcase. Even I don't even need Arbiter here because he's able to increase his own attack. But I'm gonna put her just for the sake of recirculating the turns and a decrease defense and weaken. So it's a more realistic scenario in this case. Let's have a look at the skills. Let's see how hard he hits. Normally, I always test it in the same place, under the same conditions, and if the damage is from 250,000 plus to 4, normally it means the hit is okay. If it's past 350, it means it's a good hit, and if it's below 150, or around 150 and below, means that the hit is pretty weak, at least the multiplier. So let's start with the A3, so we see the damage. In this case, we have already increased attack, but he will apply it himself anyways, and also he will apply the Perfect Veil before attacking, which means it will start ignoring an extra 15% of the target's defense and also more damage. Let's go with the A3. We can see the hit, 215, 150. It's not bad, but I wouldn't say it's mind-blowing either. It's quite average, but at least we were able to see one kill here, which means we get an extra turn, and with this extra turn we can see the A1 or we can see the A2. Let's see the A1 now that we have Perfect Veil and we're gonna hit AoE. Let's compare at least the multipliers one with the other, and 301, 280. So the A1 seems to be the hard hitting skill. The A3, it's a bit more like for the utility. If you're able to A3, you buff yourself, you kill someone, and also you get the extra turn. This combo of A3, A1 is cool one, at least it's a lot of damage. Other than that, the A1 seems to be the real interesting. Now we're gonna hit, and we don't have Perfect Veil, we don't have increased attack, so we're gonna see clearly a lot less damage. Let's go against this guy that has a weaken. See, 18, 20, the A2 is not really good, it's a pretty average damage. What makes him special, or at least what makes him shine, is when he's under Perfect Veil. The problem also of the A2, if you don't have the Perfect Veil, is it doesn't apply Perfect Veil. Just if this skill kills, and if you don't have Perfect Veil from the beginning, you're not going to put another Perfect Veil on top. But we can hit with the A1, see the multiplier, see 110 is not bad for an A1, and we just hit one enemy. Now we are under Perfect Veil, which means this next attack is going to be a hard hitting one, and we can try either A1 or A2. A2 I don't think so, A3, we can see it. but we're going to see probably very similar damage than before. Exactly 200, 2 and a bit. So the A1 is the A3 is not that much of a hit, but it's pretty good to kind of clean the wave, get an extra turn, and then you can do A1 or A2. See, the A2, even under Perfect Veil, is not a crazy amount of damage. It's okay, it's pretty average. Let's see against the boss. In this case, I'm not sure if this accumulates through each round. See, A1 is 100k. I mean, the A1 seems to be the good skill. It seems to be the hard-hitting one, because the A3 is a bit more utility. The A2 is like very... depends a lot in different factors. Let's go A2, 36, 50 it's not that much. Probably this 50 was it came from the passive, from the mastery, from the extra 25% from the mastery. Now we need Perfect Veil again, so we hit 187. It's not bad, but I'm pretty sure the A1 is gonna hit much harder than that. Let's see if we go faster. Okay, we go faster. Let's see. A1, 327. So the A1 is the interesting skill. This is the skill that we want to have as many times as possible and being able to spam it, because AoE has a pretty good multiplier, and also the A3, A1 is the kind of the combo to go. Now another place where he can be fun to play with him. Probably the arena. Let's see what we have here in the test server. Let's try, for example, Lila Fox. And here we have, I mean, we're gonna start first, and then we have more speed and lockdown with Alice, since everyone's gonna have Alice. Probably Alice 5-star, a lot of people is gonna have her. And then the CHESIRE CAT is probably a good scenario, because the enemies are gonna be absorbing a lot of damage, having Ursuga and Krisk, both of them. But let's see what kind of numbers we're able to put on. Here we lockdown. Okay, the hit is not mind-blowing, but it's not bad. But in this case, for example, we can see that the enemies are already a bit weak, so we can easily do A3, A1. So the A3 didn't manage to kill anyone, which is weird. I mean, she should have died, but of course the unkillable just procced. We try to take it off. Perfect. We decrease the turn meters, and now we have Perfect Veil, which means the next attack he's gonna do it no matter what. And not just that, but it's also gonna hit pretty hard, because they all have a weekend there. Here you go, 187, 95, so plenty of damage. Plenty of damage to kill. Maybe it's not gonna be meta in arena, basically because he's not able to ignore Stone Skin, he's not able to ignore increase defense, weaken, ally protection, so it's not kind of part of the meta right now, but he definitely has utility in terms of hitting. It's very similar to Candraform in that sense, for example, I would say. See, here we put skills on cooldown, he attacks, whatever. See if Rotos goes and attacks the cat. No, because if he would attack the cat, we would have been able to see the passive and see how he blocks the damage and then gains Veil. See, in this case, we might kill the Lilitu here. 62, 49, so the numbers are not mind-blowing. See, Rotos attacked me, didn't do anything, because I blocked the incoming damage, and also I put the block damage on top of me, and also he got an extra turn just because the A1 gets an extra turn. And in this case, the game was smart enough to not repeat the attack against the same target and then go against another one. But in this case, for example, we could go against Rotos. We have triple hitter, which is good. 1, 2, 3, enough to kill him. And now we need to manage to get Siffy out of the Stone Skin. She's not gonna... I was gonna say she's not gonna do anything, but I thought she was already locked down from Alice. Maybe not. But we are under Perfect Veil, which means we can hit AoE, and you can see 88, 74 is not a crazy amount of damage, but it's enough damage to wipe or to clean a bit. I didn't see the double Siffy, but as you can see, he can do some damage. Maybe it's not going to be meta in arena, but it can be a fun guy to play with. So I think that more or less covers everything I wanted to show you about this cat. It's not bad, it's useful, it's fun, but probably it's not going to be any account changer. His hits are not Georgette-like, it doesn't really fit on the arena meta, but like I said, for faction it's going to be really good, for waves can be actually very fun as well. Against bosses I don't see any special synergy, he doesn't contribute to the team with any buffs or any debuffs, it's everything, it's about him, he buffs his damage and then he's able to hit pretty hard in the waves. But like I said, overall, let me know in the comments what you think, if you pull him, if you don't, if you like him, if there's anything else you would like to see in future videos testing champions. That's all from my side, thanks a lot for watching the video. Over here, another recommended one if you want to watch it after this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.